Thank you and welcome to Tech Library Hub Empowerment Initiative. Welcome to the Diploma Center. So today I thought to go a different direction. I thought to present to us this document, Making It Big by Femi Otedola. Why am I insistent in talking about this document? That's a big question. And I'll try to answer these questions in this particular video. I've recorded a short about this book that has up to 2,000 reactions on our YouTube channel, Diploma Center, which part of this video will also be posted there. Why am I insistent? Why am I violent in presenting this book to the general public? That's a question. You see, we make the case in Africa that our problem is generational causes. It's a case we make religiously and carelessly that our problems are more of generational causes, which I beg to disagree with those peddling this ideology. I stand on the thought process and the opinion that our problems are strongly on generational ignorance. Yes. Our problems are standing more on generational ignorance. That's the case I am making strongly. You see, we know how to undermine our own. We know how to present our people in the most derogatory ways. We pride ourselves as those who are very, very serious in the religious industry. Our national mosque is standing tall at FCT, and we pride ourselves in presenting that, in building that, in erecting that structure, in beautifying that structure. The same with our national church. A monument, wonderful. Okay. In all of this, we pride ourselves. We build huge or big church auditoriums, and we take the name of doing the most. But when industrialists, when entrepreneurs present themselves to us, we try to push them backwards as though they are some kind of satanic ideology peddlers. These are the kind of interpretations we give to these people. You see, I have been a fan of this document the moment I heard about it, when it has not been, distributed, or will you say presented to the general public. I couldn't wait for this document to touch my hands. But I noticed something lately. A lot of people are being skeptical about the content of this document. A lot of people are talking down on it. A lot of people are undermining it. A lot of people are like, what does Femi has to teach us? What does Femi has to say? And I'm like, wait a minute, are you for real? Now, in that short I mentioned, I said something like this. I do not believe that you can know a man if you have not crawled into his mind. And the best way is to crawl into the mind of a man is to read a document that he writes or he wrote. That's the best way to crawl into the mind of a man. It is also a line I dropped in that particular show that it is through books we enjoy intellectual intercourse with great minds of present and past. I made that statement as well. Okay. What I'm doing in this section is not like I'm trying to present a synopsis or I'm trying to summarize this book. I'm trying to, present a spoiler. I'm trying to, spoil the fun for those that are going to read this book. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. I am trying to call upon African young entrepreneurs. I'm trying to call upon business guys and business ladies. I'm trying to call upon us in this continent of Africa, in this country, Nigeria, to understand the importance of, standing on the shoulders of those that has gone ahead of us. It is really important we begin to value our own. You see, Femi Otedola is a name that I know. I just know him by his name. It is it's so unbelievable that I didn't even know that it is Femi that owned Fort Oil. I knew little about Femi Otedola, but I almost thought I knew Femi Otedola. I didn't know him. He's known by everyone that his dad was a former governor. The dad was a former governor. That idea was pitched to the dad by the same Femi when he was working for the dad. Now I'm going to look at this book. As you can see, whenever I'm reading whenever I'm reading a document that I hold there, whenever I'm reading a document I hold on a very high esteem that I value so much, I try to annotate. You can see this is my style. I try to annotate. I try to make sure that I don't miss out on anything from a document like this. I don't try to miss out on anything on a document like this. Now I am going to take us, on a little journey into this book. I'll be reading some ASAP here and there, and commenting on this, just to lure us, just to beg us, just to ask us that we should look into this document. I pray you listen to what I have to say. I beg you to do, so that you understand the important. Look at this. I made mention that we pride ourselves as those that are, waxing strong and doing it big when it comes to the religious industry, when it comes to building churches and mosques and, purveying the gospel and the Holy Quran. But wait a minute. The headquarters of our National Library in Nigeria, the project was started in 2006. By that time, I was in SS3. I was in secondary school. I was just leaving secondary school. That's when the project started. That project is still uncompleted at Abuja. That's our National Library headquarters. The branches are nothing to write home about. They are so dilapidated. They are so empty. They are so dusty. They are so filled with cobwebs. They are so like you don't want to go there. Our libraries, where we source informations that can propel us forward. These are the places we knock off our way. We don't give a damn about what happens there. And I will make this case strongly again that nations that pray the most will continue to depend on nations that think the most for their livelihood. And as such, making those that claim to be independent to also remain dependent. I don't know if you get that. If you don't get it, forget about it. So I'm trying to call upon us African youths, African young minds, young entrepreneurs, those that are hungry in their soul, in their spirit, to make it big. I'm begging that we look into this document. It is going to worth your time and your money. I promise you, I guarantee you that. You see, one of these documents has touched down Abia State. It has touched down the eastern part of Nigeria. It's in Aba as we speak. I sent it to Aba, to a wonderful friend of mine that I recommended it to. And she was like, bring it on. This document will be delivered to another friend of mine, Frank, a friend of mine, who is a winner as well. This book will be delivered to him in a few days' time. Another friend of mine in Bamako, Mali, is going to get a document, is going to get a copy of this and get into Femi's mind as well. Not just that, I think I've also discussed this book, briefly or sparingly with another friend who is a retired naval officer and security expert, my dear friend Obadiah. I've also spoken to him about this book, and he was like, I'm getting this book. But in the first place, he was skeptical about this book. He was skeptical about the content of this book. I wouldn't know why. So when we, converse, because we're good, right? So when we converse, he was like, I'm getting this book, brother. I said, cool. So while I record this video, I am indirectly also trying to make you understand why you've got to read this book. Because I've been seeing some comments online lately about how people are sounding so derogatory about this material, about this document. People are like, what does Femi has to offer? What does he have to tell us about making it big and all of that in the name that, he is born with a silver spoon? Wait a minute, follow me. I will first of all read the takeaway of the lesson one. This is how he wrote this book. It is lessons from a life in business. Lessons from a life in business. The advanced praises are coming from the likes of Aliko Dangote. That's Africa's richest man. The likes of Aruma Ote, the likes of Dr. Akinwumi A. Adesina, President African Development Bank Group. You know Adesina, right? Prince Dr. Samuel Adedoyin. These are those that wrote the advanced praise. I will just read one. Now, the full word was written by Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Madam Ngo, the Director General World Trade Organization, the author of Fighting Corruption is Dangerous. Yes, Madam Ngo wrote the full word of this document. You don't want to, let me just pick up their call to action so that you see what is here. This is Dangote's call to action. This is a highly recommended read for anyone who aspires to be successful in a challenging environment. That is Dangote's call to action. How does it sound? Look at this from Aruma. This is one of the most important books you will ever read on entrepreneurship in a developing country. Just be with me, please. I'm with Akinwumi now. This book is a must read for all business leaders, policymakers, and young people venturing into the world of entrepreneurship and business. It should be a recommended test in all leading business schools. There's no limitation to what he is trying to present. Now, I will jump to Madam Ngo's call for action. Look at this. She said, making it big is a tour de force that I commend to everyone's attention, young and aspiring entrepreneurs and policymakers alike. These are their words. I mean, look at the people. Think of the people that are making these statements, people that are penning down these words. Look at them. Compare them with you and I. These are people that has, they have gone through the ups and downs of this industry. They have gone through the ups and downs, the hurdles of making it, of one who is trying to make it big and has assumed this position, these steep positions of authority, these steep positions in ratings. These are not careless words. These are not coming from weak minds. These are words coming from Africa's best minds. And I wonder why we who are still very far in the journey are making the case that this book has nothing to offer us. That sounds a little preposterous to me. Now look at this. I'm going to read the takeaway of the first lesson. I told us he wrote it in lessons. Okay, I'm going to read the takeaway first, then I'm going to pick some points in between to communicate to us the need to get into this document. Takeaways from the first lesson. 1. The first step to awaken your inner entrepreneur is to recognize an opportunity when you see it. 2. It is good to start small so you can learn, grow, and scale up in a controlled, orderly fashion as your market expands. 3. Create value to make your product or service attractive and utilize any advantage you have. The last but not the least, be courageous in making business decisions and don't be afraid to keep dreaming. These are the takeaways from the first lesson. Now, I'm going to pick points here and there to, show you some things that you never imagined or you might never knew about. You might never know about Femi Otedola. Look at this. Femi's dad studied journalism. Take note of that. Femi's dad studied journalism, and he worked as the chief press secretary to Chief Obafemi Awolowo. So he was sitting at the center of the most quality and sophisticated information that enters the country. He had access to quality information. Guy, to the point that he ran a printing press. Watch this. Information. If we are not informed, we are deformed. And the quality of information we have access to will determine the quality of lifestyle we will manifest in reality. Yes. Because we are guided and we are led by the quality of information we embody. Now, look at this. Femi had access to the best quality information because dad was a journalist and he was with the heavyweights of the nation. The companies he kept were those that had access to the best of quality information. Now, look at this. At 25, for you that is looking at this book as one book that you just don't think it has anything to offer you, at 25, Femi was already an outlier, and his dad was supportive of him being an outlier. Look at this. Look at this. I'm going to read this. All I wanted to do was get involved in business. My father kept watch over me and drew me close. My sister taught me shorthand. I knew how to type and began typing letters for my dad. I prepared all his business correspondence. I was fascinated by the way printing machines treat paper. The white paper is placed on one end, the ink and plates are fixed, and printed materials comes out of the other end. It was captivating. Despite the protest and tears of my mother, who could not accept what I wouldn't be, who could not accept that I wouldn't be returning to school, I started working full-time for my father's printing operation at that point. I became the managing director there in 1987, around the time I turned 25. At 25, managing director, his father's empire, his father's company. Walk with me. I served as my dad's sales executive up until 1991 when he started his Lagos State gubernatorial campaign. It was a run for office, ultimately successful, that I had initiated. He pitched the idea to the dad. It was his idea. Look at this guy that we think we know too much about. Just walk with me, please. The lesson one is start small, keep dreaming. Femi started his business actually at the age of 7. He started at the age of 7. What was he doing? He was cutting nails, pedicure, manicure. He was cutting nails for every visitor that enters their house. All his father's visitors, he took advantage of the opportunity. He cut nails and write receipts for them to pay him for doing the job. That is entrepreneurial mindset. It's business mindset. It came to him very early in life. And his parents didn't try to stop him. They allowed him to follow his path. His mom cried. It wasn't easy for her to handle it, but then the dad saw the potential in the young man. He saw the young man tapping into his latent potentials and embraced it. Watch this. There is a message Femi is trying to pass in this particular lesson, this particular chapter, if I use that word loosely here now, as it is not employed in this place. Now, watch this. In this chapter, the lesson I intend to provide is how to use little things to hone your skills for the bigger challenges. How to use little things to hone your skills. You see, if we do not understand that gift set or skill set is not enough, if we do not understand that we need our tool set, the right tool set, and if we do not understand the the sequence of what bets an asset, it becomes a problem to us. Because think about this: you need your gift set, which is inherent to you. You need tool set, which will be the things that will, you will tap into, or you will be equipped with to, serve your gift set. You will need to hone your skill set. Your gift set is one. You need to hone that gift set, which is like you need to work on your skill set to gain mastery of that skill. And the only way you can do that is when you have the right tool set. With the right tool set, with the right gift set that you have discovered, which is your purpose, and the right skill set, which is mastery of your craft, automatically you can become a person of inestimable value, which is a person that will can say that this person is an asset. Yes, it's as simple as it goes. Now, he said we should use little things to hone our skills. Look at this. The moment you have something to offer, no matter how seemingly little it is, you can use it to activate your business sense. Hold on to that while we move. In this particular page 13, Femi tried to say something that was quite funny. I have never been a person that subscribed to Ponzi schemes, to quick money making schemes. I detest it with everything inside of me. If you can recall when something like when a scheme like MMM came to Nigeria, and a lot of people became victims of it, and I'm like, wait a minute, how do you think things work? Nothing is free, my brothers and sisters. Nothing, absolutely nothing is free. You pay for everything. You pay for everything. But people think that there is a faster way to making it big. There is no faster way to making it big. You need to follow the ladder. You need to climb the rungs of the ladder of greatness. You need to climb Jacob's ladder one step at a time. Yes. And we have come to embrace it at the Diploma Center. Yes, we have. So, see, another Ponzi scheme came at a place that I live. They called it Kala. This Ponzi scheme was preached to me by pastors. Winners Chapel pastors were victims of this Ponzi scheme called Kala. All the pastors in the area were victims. And I kept asking them, what exactly are you people thinking? Femi was talking about the Ponzi scheme when he came to Nigeria at that point in time. We're talking of we're talking of the 90s. Yeah, this should be the 90s. This should be the 90s now. I hope I am not making any mistake with okay, good. This is the 90s, early 90s. Okay, many pseudo financial institutions were cropping up in my country in the late 1980s and early 1990s, promising the depositors unimaginable returns of up to 100% a month. That's bullshit. That's nonsense. It's not possible. It's not. You've got to work for it, brothers and sisters. Okay, so look at this. I underlined this place even with my sticky note. I was like, I underlined it. There are those who suggest getting in a Ponzi scheme early and cashing out early before everyone catches on. He said, there are those who suggest getting in a Ponzi scheme early and cashing out early before everyone catches on. I say to them that by the time you hear of a Ponzi scheme, it's already too late. It is a surefire losing proposition. It is a surefire losing proposition. Look at this. When I read this, it's so resonated with me, because this is just like what I tell people. I'm like, wait, you do not want to be part of something that you will start small and you grow it, and people begin to subscribe to it, and people begin to latch their own path to it, and You just want to wait for others to do all the to show all the working, then you come and make the most out of it. No, no, you will scam yourself. You will shoot yourself on the leg. I tell you the truth. That's what will happen. There's no such thing as a quick money making scheme. That's junk. That's rubbish. Now I okay. Okay, how to listen to that inner voice and take nudges seriously and take nudges seriously. Okay, this he was talking about when DJ Kopi said that his occupation was sleeping. They asked Kopi in the class what his dad does, the occupation, and he was like that the dad his occupation was sleeping. So when it got to Femi's ear, Femi was like, "Time to wake up, time to restructure." It wasn't entirely that Femi was just sleeping away. No, the kind of business he was running this time gave him the opportunity to relax a lot. I think when he was running Center Force before, it was Xenon that jacked him out of the bed because Xenon, you've got to step out, you've got to be on the road, you've got to be at the jet, you've got to be at the seaport, you've got to be, making it happen by yourself. You need to be at the forefront. Now, listen to this. If I tell you that Femi is someone who has sold his property, who has sold his house to go and live in a rented apartment, that's the person we're looking at like, oh, born with a silver spoon. He did it at some point. Responsibility. Responsibility. Look at what he said here. At a point, his friends we are making jest of him. They were making fun of him that he will walk into his guys and they will be like, "Have you come to supply diesel?" Like when he started Xenon, he was crazy, which is an idea that was better out of a careless delivery that happened in his Ikoyi mansion. I think Ikoyi mansion, uh, people that came with a shabby truck or something like that and was staining his compound and all of that. So he picked the idea that he can actually do this better and he ran with it. Now, when I got to that point, and it dawned on me that wait, I know that Femi is someone that had fleet of trucks in the country and had gas stations and all of that. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is not something that was just poured into his life, maybe by his dad or by the friends of his dad or by Nigerian government or by friends from abroad or any such thing as that. It's something that Femi worked from scratch and it grew like a baby. Think about this. So the same thing that you and I are going through is the same thing that he went through and he still made it big, bro. He still made it big. Sis, we've got work to do. He had responsibility. What mattered to him was that there was a roof under him and he didn't give a shit about any place that he was living at that point in time until he catches up. Now, there's another line I just had to, touch that place as well. He said, ask for help when you need it. So when I realized in late 1999 that I needed trucks to meet the insatiable demand for diesel, I asked my dad for a loan. He gave him this loan at a cost. It was not free. It was not free. He paid. Even when the wife needed to start a business, Femi gave her 40 million and she paid complete. Do you understand that? It's business here that we're talking about. Now, there's another point also that caught my attention real good when he said um, many Nigerian banks many Nigerian banks had their head offices in Victoria Island, where their managing directors lived. Moving there and living close to banking executives would help. No banker would approve a 1 billion naira loan for your business without knowing your house. No banker would come and meet me in my old Ikeja neighborhood. Location is critical in corporate packaging. This was it for me. Corporate packaging, location matters a lot. Okay, there's another point I held strong here. Uh, okay, good. This is one of the strongest points I'm about to make in this a particular section of this book because I might likely talk about this book from beginning to end. Guys, expect that. Look at this and tell me what you think about this particular line now. It's the lesson 12. It's a fairness and willingness to give more can get you a bigger chunk of a market. Now, listen to this. How did I break into NNPC? In a country where connections seems to count more than competence. Listen to this again. In a country where connections seem to count more than competence, I knew I could not just knock on the door of the national oil company and boast, see how far I have gone, see how big I have become, see how many big companies I am supplying, see how efficient I am. If you are using capacity and competence as criteria to allocate diesel, Xenon Petroleum and Gas should be number one on your list. But that wasn't the case. You needed connection. That's Nigeria. That's Africa for you. He didn't hide it. It wasn't easy for him too. He needed the connection, and it wasn't even easy for him to make the connection. Look at this. Look at this interaction that happened between how he gained access to somebody who was in charge of allocation of diesel in an NPC. Femi was on a trip. Femi was on a trip in London. Okaisebo is the name. Okaisebo is the guy that was in charge of allocation of diesel. Now, Femi was on a trip to London. He happened to be in the same flight with Okaisebo. And meanwhile, before that, Femi was with his friend. And before being with his friend who was a lawyer in London, he had already spoken with this guy over the phone through his friend, Dakbo Abiodun, who is a friend to this guy that allocates diesel. He had been on a phone conversation with him, and he didn't quite know him. So when they met on that flight, I guess, Femi didn't know the guy. It was the lawyer friend of his that was like, I thought you supplied diesel in Nigeria. Femi was like, yes. He said, do you have any problem with this guy? Femi was like, which guy? He said, that's the person that is in charge of supply allocation of diesel in Nigeria, NNPC. Femi was like, wait a minute. He ran after the young man and, he presented his proposal like there and then on that flight. And the young man was like, you are definitely going to become the king of diesel. Walk with me. And that was how, it all started. That was how it all began. Like direct access to direct allocation from NNPC, which he had. This is a book you need to get into. It's a book you can't wait to read. Nigerians, Africans, please, let's respect ourselves. Let's stop undermining our own. If we are picking up, I have read so many business books, so many memo. I've read documents coming from great minds, great business, great entrepreneurs. I mean, that at the end of the reading, it wasn't entirely what the hype. But wait, I'm still at lesson 4. That's if you can call chapter 4. I'm still there. Like I'm taking it bit by bit. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not rushing this book. I want to get the juice out of this book because, brothers and sisters, we are making it big at the Diploma Center. We are making it big at Tech Library Hub Empowerment Initiative. Therefore, we are not going to relent. We are not going to sleep. We will be on guard. We will crawl in the mind of great minds. Yes. We will seek. We will knock. We will ask. We will do all of that to be on the right path, to stand on truthful principles, to stand on things that has evidence. This is a man who is not just dropping audio. He has proof. I've said it over and over that if we claim we know something and we do not have evidence of that which we claim to know, we do not know it. It's as simple as it gets. So guys, I will see you all in the next section where I will likely do justice to another lesson, maybe lesson 2. After that, lesson 3. I'm going to take it bit by bit. I hope I'm able to do justice to this book from beginning to end. And I hope that it helps us, to get into Femi's mind, and that many of us in this continent, in this country, will be able to make it big. Our people said, Obazuoke, Iro Allah. That is all for now. Thank you, guys.